All right, we live and we're dancing. And I'm really excited to introduce the audience today to someone I've heard a lot of great things about, and I'm getting to know him on this podcast as well. So today I'm interviewing a retired American mixed martial artist based out of Sacremento, California, who fought professionally from 2007 until 2015, where he competed in 22 bouts with both the UFC and WEC. Today, he is a proud father, Team Alpha Male coach, Onnit Academy trainer, and owner of P2O Hot Pilates and Fitness in Sacramento. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Danny Castillo to the Winner Circle.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I'm excited to have this conversation. I've heard a lot of great things about you. And so let's get right into things. I feel an important question that we all ought to be aware of. And if we don't, there's no better time to start than the now. Business have them, companies have them, and so should we as individuals. And that is a mission. Danny Castillo, what is your mission here in this reality plane?
Well, that's a great question. And I feel like, throughout the years of my life, my mission statement has changed a bunch. And right now, I don't have something written out or anything like that, but I believe my mission statement is to be the best possible Danny Castillo, and that goes from being a good father, a good coach, a good business owner, a good friend, just to be a great person and to enjoy my life. And these days, my life has shifted a lot. Now that I'm a father and now that I'm a business owner and I'm not necessarily in the limelight in terms of fighting on TV anymore, I just want to be happy, and I want to give everyone that's around me a good positive vibe, and I want to give them the best possible Danny Castillo I can have. So I'm always constantly thriving to be a better person every day.
That's beautiful. So the title of the show is called Welcome to the Winner Circle, because it's in my belief everyone can be a winner. Has to do with the choice to say, this is who I want to be, and then doing it, taking action. So often people put others on pedestals because they're not willing to put in the work, but we all got to start somewhere. And by saying yes to that process, we're doing it, we're winning. Because what I found, it's about the process rather than the destination. We live in a very destination-oriented society. When I get this job, when I get this career, when I get this relationship, when I get this title, whatever, I'm going to be happy. But then we get there and then it's like, now what? So it's the process, the journey, where all this sweetness lies. So what does going for your win mean to you, Danny? And what does living your win look like for you today?
Again, it goes back to happiness and to trying to live the most stress-free life possible. I grew up, competing. So my ultimate goal was to be a champion, whether it was a state champion wrestler in high school or a national champion wrestler in college, or when I moved on. I mean, there's been so many, so it is the process. So there's been so many destination changes throughout the history of my life. So it is the process, and I agree with that 100%. And I believe for me right now is to be the best possible person I can be and to chase the goals that I have. I'm constantly shifting my goals, and right now, one of the main goals that I have, I mean, of course, my business is first and foremost. You need money to live these dreams, and you need money to get by. But my son is 17 months now, and it's an amazing feeling. It's something that wasn't planned. I got to I'm 41 now, and I got to about 38, and I figured that being a father wasn't in the picture for me, and lo and behold, I have my son Titus, and right now it's to give him the best possible life, the life that I wasn't so fortunate enough to have. So I believe that is my goal for right now, and it's a tough question for me because they always change. I'm always changing my goals, and I'm always changing different things in my life. So right now, at this point in time, which I try to live for today, and there's goals in the future, but today I'm living for today, and today was to work with the fighters that I have. I have a couple fighters that are coming up actually in 3 fight weeks back to back in the UFC. And then I came to the studio and I taught a kettlebell class. And now after this, I'm going to go play with my son and just show him as much as love as I can, and my fiance as well. And just try to be there, try to be present, and you know, try to radiate as much happiness as possible.
That's beautiful. You've mentioned best to be the best person a few times now. So, what are the qualities and characteristics of that best person? What does that best person look like, and what kind of inspiration, what kind of example are you trying to leave for your son?
Right. So that's another great question. You're full of great questions. The best possible person is for me is to be able to give everything that I possibly can, to be present, to go over and beyond that what I have to offer. And sometimes it I wouldn't say it holds me back, but a lot of times, at the end of the day, winding down, going to sleep, it's tough because I try to reevaluate. Recently, I just started journaling, which is something that has really changed my life in the last. I've been journaling for about 2 months, and my friend recommended to me that, and I have an app on my phone, and I just try to jot down things that went on that day. Not so much on my feelings or anything. I just want to have it something in a chronological order moving forward. So when I do go back, I can understand and play those thoughts in my head, play those situations that I have. So that has changed me a bunch, because at the end of the day, I'm trying to shut it down. I'm trying to get ready for the next day. And it's just like, oh, maybe I could have did something different, or maybe I should have done this, or maybe I should have, had different reactions to what happened throughout the day. So you know, I, I like to, I like to just be over and beyond. And it's something that, I would say it's haunted me a little bit, because I always want to be the best possible person. And you're not always the best possible person, and I thrive to be that person. So sometimes for me, um, that goal, which is to be that best possible person, is something that kind of haunts me a little bit, because I just constantly want to thrive to be better and better every day.
Well, one thing I know for sure, well, from my experience at least, is that that journaling practice is going to really help you towards that goal. It's helped me, and it's been a huge mainstay in my self care routine. What are some other foundational parts of your self care routine that really help you be the best you?
I try to work out almost every day. Not really intense. I try to do something every day, whether it's get on the bike while I'm waiting for my fighters to warm up, or I had a big lift yesterday. Physical activity is one of the things that I don't know if it's just me exerting the energy that takes the stress away, or just the completion of it that makes me happy. But I start to realize that even on vacation, you think that I'd be on vacation on a beach enjoying myself, but I start to know that there's something missing, and it's usually me hitting that hotel gym for something small, maybe a run. Today I did a 40-minute EMOM, which wasn't really intense, but I did for 40 minutes. I did 6 kettlebell swings on the minute every minute. And just having the peace of mind, it kept me in that fat burning zone. It wasn't intense, it wasn't taxing. In fact, I'll be able to lift tomorrow. My big lifts are on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so I'll be able to lift tomorrow. But it just kept me active, and it kept my mind off of other things. And I'm not huge on meditation, which I've tried. And I always revisit that as much as I can, especially when life is super chaotic. I understand exactly what it is. For me, my meditation comes through my personal prayer. So whatever religion it is, I believe that personal prayer is very similar to meditation, whatever religion you have it. But that's kind of where my meditation comes. And then my meditation from working out is something else also, because, everything kind of drifts away. I'm not really worried about what's going on at my studio. I'm not really worried about what's going on at home or business issues or personal matters. So it's kind of takes me away. And it's something that I feel is positive. And, you try to have as many positive habits as possible just to keep you on track. Well, for me, at least.
And I know wrestling was one of those initial positive habits that really helped you. And you mentioned you want to give your son a better life than you had growing up. So let's go right back there. Let's talk about the origin story of Danny Castillo. How did you discover wrestling, and how did that change and really shape your life?
Well, I've always been into sports. I've always been into fitness ever since I can remember. But my father wasn't in the picture that much at all. And transitioning from the junior high, where I went to a small school, and then we went to high school, which was a bigger school, just trying to find myself, trying to find my identity, which I didn't have going into these bigger schools, bigger classes, more people, older people. That's not the same type of junior high as before. So I was getting into a lot of trouble. And the vice principal at the time, I believe I was in the principal's office 4 times that month. And he told me, he's like, I got to call your mother again. And I begged him not to, because I know my mom would just be, it'd be bad for me to go home after my vice principal call my mom for the 3rd time that month. And he was like, all right, well, you just come to wrestling practice and I won't call your mom. And I was like, that's it? And he was like, yeah, that's it. Just come to wrestling practice. So I went to wrestling practice, and I got the crap beat out of me by upperclassmen, sophomores and seniors, and they just kind of put a beating on me. And I went home and really frustrated, because I couldn't understand how these guys were really, out techniquing me and just really putting a beating on me. So the next day, I wasn't required to go, but I showed up. And after that, I wrestled every single day as long as I can remember. And what that wrestling has done is it in order to compete, you had to have good grades. So that put me in the classroom. So I was doing my work more. I was more focused, because I wanted the opportunity to wrestle, because it was something that was a privilege, not something that was forced upon me. And wrestling has taken me all over the world. I've competed all over the world, and it pushed me in. It put me into college. I don't think I had any aspirations to go to college as a kid. It wasn't something that anyone in my family did. So it wasn't, something I thought I would be working constructions my whole life, because that's just kind of what my family did. It put me into college. I went to college, and then after college, I got a desk job, and I realized that the desk job wasn't necessarily for me. So I worked that desk job for about 4 years. And after that, I still had the itch to compete. And, then I tried mixed martial arts, and pretty much after that, the rest has been history. I've just been a professional athlete since I believe it was 2007 is when I made the decision to do it. And my mom backed me, and it was a really crazy story, because I was sitting at the desk job, working this job that I really didn't enjoy, but it was making pretty good money living in the Bay Area. And, just upset, and was just kind of drinking a little bit more and more and more as the years went by. And then after 4 years of it, my mom was the one that just told me, she was like, yeah, if that's what you really want to do, then I think you need to do it now before you get too old. And back then, MMA was still scratching the surface. Right now, I'm not sure that you'd be able to do it, but I'm not trying to discourage anyone. But when I decided to make that decision, I was 27. So never had any kind of stand-up experience, any kickboxing, any jiu-jitsu. I just was able to wrestle, and I knew how to work hard. And, basically the rest is history. I put in my 2 weeks notice, moved all my stuff back home, and got in the gym, and I trained every single day, morning to night. And my buddy at the time, Uriah Faber, who I grew up with wrestling, he was a UFC Hall of Famer. he was just like, yeah, I think you're ready for a fight. And it's like, you're right. I've only been training for 4 weeks. And he's like, well, there's a fight 2 weeks away. I think you'll do it. I mean, I think you'll win. It's not much. I think I paid like $250 to show, $250 to win. Took the fight, won the fight. 6 weeks later, the promoters kept hitting me up, won another fight. Next thing I know, in 7 or 8 months, I was 5-0 with 5 finishes. And I got a contract to the WEC, which I took a fight on, I think it was less than 9 days notice. And, I fought then, he didn't have a huge name back then, but he will be a UFC Hall of Famer. I fought Donald Cowboy Cerrone on 8 days notice in my hometown, which was really big for me. But that was my first fight on TV, and unfortunately, I only made $3,000 to show, $3,000 to win, and I lost that fight in the first round by armbar. So I made $3,000 there, and then the rest is pretty much history. And then after that, I just was full boat into it, got locked into it, fell in love with it, and to this day, I'm still heavy into it. And MMA is something that's really special to me. Will I have my son fight? That's something that's I'm still up in the air. I don't know if I want my son to fight or wrestle, it sounds really, really crazy, but I have a love-hate with the sport. And I'd rather see my son playing golf or something where he's not getting punched in the face for a living. But we'll see. Kids are kids, and I'm going to be there to support him whatever he does. So if he wants to fight, then I have his back. And what better guy to have your back than a guy who fought professionally? So we'll see.
Oh yeah, that's right. So let's go back when you mentioned you were working a desk job for 4 years, and then you felt that call to adventure to change things up. And this is where so many people get stuck. They're feeling that call to leave that job and to pursue their passion, whether that be fighting or traveling the world or moving to a new city. And fear stops them in their tracks. Did fear at all or resistance come up for you in that process, or not really, because your mom had your support, your friend Uriah had your support? What did that process, that transition look like, and why did it take 4 years? Did you not feel that call to do something different?
Yeah. So after my last match in college, I lost in the NAIA national finals on a questionable call. So my whole goal throughout life was to be a champion, and I failed in high school. I went to a junior college. I failed there. I didn't reach that goal. And then in college, my junior year, I took fourth in the country. So I was in All-American. So I took a year off, and my senior year, that was it. I didn't really have any goals past that. I was just kind of one track mind. I'm going to win this national title, and that's it. Everything revolved around that. That's it. Everything. And unfortunately, I didn't reach that goal. So it's something that kind of bothered me a little bit, and in the back of my head. But at the same time, I was done competing. I wasn't going to wrestle on an Olympic level or even try. It's just something I wasn't excited to do. So I got this job, and I started to work at the job, and I believe it was the competition that I missed. The rush of getting ready to go hand-to-hand combat with somebody. It's something that I really miss, and something that I could tell that there's something that I just couldn't put my finger on exactly what it was, and that was what it was. I had unfinished business to do. I had a goal that I hadn't reached, and I had competition, something that I love to do, and I wanted to revisit that. So I didn't really know exactly what it was. I was always competitive. I'm competitive with my buddies. We play pickup games of basketball, and I'm one of the most competitive games on. I'm back and forth on that court. We're trying to steal balls, like everything. And I just didn't know what I'd be able to do to give me that same feeling. And when my buddy reached out to me, Uriah, and he was just like, "Man, bro, you can do it. You can do it." Because I knew him when we were in high school, and he was just like, "I'm telling you right now, it's just like wrestling in college, except you get paid for it." And I was just like, "What do you?" and you get punched in the face. What do you mean you're right? It's just not like college. It's not like college wrestling at all. And he's just like, I think you'll be good for it. It takes a special person, a specific type of person that can really do it. And I've known you my whole life, and I think you could do it. So that right there, that gave me a little bit of confidence. But at the same time, at the desk job I had, I mean, it was back in 2006, 2007, I was making $60,000 a year, which is really good. I was working sales and marketing. Plus, on top of that, I was making commission, full 401k, dental, vision, everything. It's just like it was the safe play for me.
Mm-hmm.
And me throwing that all away to go and lock myself in a cage and to fight. And at the time, like MMA wasn't as big and as popular. It was popular, but back then they called it dog fighting. It was a blood sport. It wasn't as glorified as it is now. I mean, right now you see some of the guys that are top of the world, and these guys are professional athletes. Back then, it wasn't that. It's changed so much over the years, and so I was for sure scared. It took me a year of sitting at the desk, behind the desk, on, because I was in sales and marketing, so on phone calls. One deal would be right there close to sealing that deal, and then it would fall through. It was just one thing after another. And finally, the last straw for me was they bought a consultant into the company. It was a small company, and they changed my commission scale. They offered me a little bit more money, but less commission, and I was making a lot of money in commission. So I thought that was the last straw. I mean, I'm not doing anything. I'm not advancing in this company. I don't even really like doing it, but when you're in sales, if you're making a living in sales, stay in sales. I didn't have any plan B at the time. And, with the blessing from my mother, and all my friends were super supportive of me, because they knew I competed, and I've got a really good group of friends that would show up to all my meets and all that stuff and do everything to support me. And they told me, man, my friend said, you could come live at my house till you get your feet settled, and we'll take it from there. But you should do it. So with the confidence from my mother giving me her blessing, my family, Uriah, my close friend, who at the time was a world champion for the WEC, all my friends, that kind of just kind of gave me the confidence to make that decision.
Mm-hmm. Having that strong supportment was so key in your journey. What is your advice for your fighters or people that are out there listening that are at that point where you were, and they feel that call, and they're scared because they're in their comfort zone. They're getting that 401k. They have a safe destination, a safe reality, but their heart is telling them they want something more, and it's eating at them day after day after day as it did you. What is your advice for those listeners, and even some of your fighters, I'm sure, are in a similar situation?
Well, two different things. If you're a fighter, then I try to give it to you as raw as possible, because for one, if you've never been into a fight before, MMA is not the thing for you. If you're a phenomenal athlete, and if you've got some kind of background in some kind of combat sports where you were really, really, really good, then I'd be like, okay, I can understand that. But if it's some guy that's just out of a desk job saying, yeah, this is what I want to do, because I get it all the time. I get guys that come in there and one of my questions are, have you been in any street fights? And they're just like, what do you mean? Just like, well, have you ever been punched in the face? And they're just like, well, what are you getting at? I'm just like, well, this is a sport that if you have a bad day, it's a terrible day. In fact, like, you might go to the hospital type of day. And if you're not ready, and if you've never been punched in the face, and you're not comfortable being punched in the face, this is not the sport for you. I promise you that. And even then, they still decide to do it, and they come in there and they want to mix it up with professionals. I think we have 16 UFC fighters in our room. This morning at sparring, we have 12 UFC fighters in the room right there. And these are guys that are top 10 in the world. And then these guys just think they could just come off the street and get in there and just like, it's usually a bad day for those guys who just think, oh, I saw it on TV, I'm going to do this. But for people who are chasing their goals, chasing their dreams, sometimes you're not going to get the support from your families and friends. Sometimes it's just got to be a gut feeling that you want, something that you think about all the time. If it's something that's on your mind all the time, and even when you're trying to do something else and that keeps coming up and that keeps coming up, then it's something that maybe you need to do it. Maybe you need to do it. And it's not the end all be all. If you try to achieve that and you fail, it's okay. We all fail. We fail every day. It's not something that's bad. But what is bad is not attempting to do it and living with regret, because I've done it. I've lived with regret, and it's something that eats up at you rather than just going for it. You just gotta go with it. If you believe it in your heart and soul, you just gotta go for it and take it from there. But sport like UFC, the sport like MMA, it's different. But if you're like, I want to be an actor, that's also super tough. If you want to move to LA and do that acting thing or something very similar to do it, I would say, if this is your passion, this is what you believe that you were put on this earth to do, then go chase that. It's not going to be glamorous in the beginning, but if you do make it, and this is something you believe in, then even if you don't make it, you made that jump. You tried it. But to live with regret and not doing it, that's something I don't really want to, I don't want that for anyone, strangers or not. Just regret is something that's terrible. So my best advice to you, if it's in you so much that you can't stop thinking about it, and this is something that's been going on for quite some time. I know people that have these feelings about different things, but if it's something that's all you can think about, it's your head all the time, then do it.
Mm-hmm. And even if there is failure, like you said, there's so much learning and growth to come from that. So let's talk about, what have you learned from failure on your journey? Because you mentioned you have failed. You failed at many things, but I bet every one of those failures you've learned and you've grown and risen stronger.
Right. So what failure has done for me, it's a tough pill to swallow, and for me, I feel that out of a bunch of things in life, but what it's done is it's taught me, I believe I have one of the craziest work ethics ever, and I think failure has drove me to work harder. And hard work, no matter what you do, even if you fail, hard work doesn't go unpaid. So like, just for the situation of being an actor, like, let's say you go out there and you work hard, you study screenplays, you're acting classes, doing all this stuff, and you do fail, you just never make it. Well, maybe something on that journey pushes you. Maybe you just want to be behind the camera. Maybe you want to write screenplays. Maybe something, chasing that dream of yours, and working hard at it never goes unpaid. You might see there's a connection in there. You might meet people, you might network with people that give you to a different goal and bring you to something else. I mean, there's all kinds of stories of people that chased one goal and it didn't work out for them, and then they ended up finding something they really love. And I just think that life is too short to not go for it.
Mm-hmm. That's so very true. That's great advice, Danny. So you've talked about a couple of mentors and helpers on the way. Your principal was one of the first ones. He got you into the wrestling room. Uriah Faber as well. Let's take a moment to acknowledge some of the mentors and helpers that have helped you on your path. And what were your key learnings that you took away from them?
I learned from everyone, whether they're in a position above me or not. Like, you can learn from everyone. I've had some great striking coaches that I've learned along the way, and one of them was his name was Master Tong. He was from Thailand, and he was my first striking coach, and he wasn't very professional at all. He trained a bunch of world champions, but in terms of professionalism, he wasn't that guy. So I have two coaches on both ends of the spectrum. Master Tong, who we'd go all over America fighting, and he's one of the guys that loved to gamble, and he was just kind of lighthearted. He would always be joking around throughout there, which made everything super fun. Super fun. And then on the other hand, I have Dwayne Ludwig, who is a striking coach. He also fought in the UFC, kickboxing. And what I learned from him is his work ethic. Before I came to our practices, he was in the gym on his computer, studying film, writing out his practices, and that's something that is I learned from him. And now that moving on to the coaching role and trying to coach these guys MMA, like I have every single practice I've ever wrote on the MMA side in a computer, actually on my iPhone. So I've got, I don't know, 4 years worth of practices in my iPhone, and it's something that gives me confidence to staying prepared. If I'm prepared prior to my task, then I'm able to perform at a higher level. I'm not fumbling words. I'm not looking for different things. I'm not, I'm there. I'm focused. I know exactly the content that I'm going to show that day, and that makes me a better coach. And so both ends of the spectrum. One kept it really fun, was completely unorganized, but I learned the most, and I have so much love for both of them. And the other one was someone who was really organized and really, really serious. And so I'm a mixture of the two. I try to keep it lighthearted, but at the same time, I'm kind of a no nonsense type of coach. I want you to work as hard as I'm going to work. If I'm outworking you and you're the athlete, there's a problem. So even to this day, we have athletes, it's really weird. But nowadays, the new generation is just, they show up late and they don't think there's a problem with it. And that's something that I'm kind of old school like that. It's just like, no, you have to be there before practice. You're not there at practice. Like if you don't value showing up on time, then you don't really value your career. So, but when we're in practice, I'm joking around, I'm having fun, but there's just kind of, I'm in between.
Mm-hmm. And you're a very driven, hardworking person, but even for you, resistance is something that comes up to us all daily. And I don't know if you read the book, The War of Art by Steven Pressfield, but he describes resistance as that negative force in the world that keeps us from fulfilling our dreams, from becoming our best selves. So how do you overcome resistance on a daily basis?
Well, for me, the resistance basically sounds like daily failures, which you come across. When everything is perfect, I don't feel like there's too much growth. When you have that resistance, you have to work harder. I mean, just like in exercise, in exercise science, like, you put a little bit of resistance on a barbell and you're doing squats, you're going to get stronger. So if you use that metaphor in life, I mean, you shouldn't necessarily shy away from resistance. I feel like you should hit resistance straight on. And that resistance is always going to make you a stronger person. Whether you fail or not. So you get to that max squat and you bail underneath the bar. Next time around, you're going to be a little bit stronger. So that resistance is something. It's a driving force for all of us. At least for me, I like resistance. It's something. It's something that I've come accustomed to having in my life. It's not something I shy away from. It's something that I encourage. I like when my back is against the wall. I like when there's that resistance, because that's kind of where I thrive, where I become the best me, is pushing through that resistance.
Yeah, and having faith that you'll do well on the other side is going to improve you on the other side. Having that faith over that fear
Well,
is important.
for me, the faith comes with me constantly going through it, constantly going through these resistance, constantly going through these failures. I've been through this before, and I'm okay, and I can continue to go through this resistance, this failure. It's fine. I've been here, and that's why I encourage it, because I know at the end of the day, I'm going to be okay whether I I fall to the resistance, or I make mistakes, or I fail, I know the next day I'll be able to come back at it and hit it straight on, head on, and eventually I'm going to break through that resistance.
Absolutely. The more reps we put in, the easier it becomes.
Exactly.
So on the journey, you've faced many challenges and many temptations. Let's talk about some of those challenges and temptations and how you overcome them, including your greatest challenge and what that was and how you overcame.
So, man, it's tough to say. I've come across a bunch of challenges, and speaking, not so much just of being an athlete. I just kind of want to shift it a little bit because I don't want people just to think that I'm just this athlete. I opened up the Hot Pilates Studio about going on 8 years, and we're doing extremely well. The number one studio in Sacremento for 6 years in a row. And start to make some money, start putting money away. And at that point in time, I felt like we needed to grow. And I have a I have 2 studios now, but at the time it was a pretty small studio, 3,000 square feet. But we kind of hit our max. The classes were selling out, and there's no way to bring in more money if we have no space for them. So we decided to go big, and I went a little bit too big. So we went from 3,000 square feet to 10,000 square feet. So that was something that I put down a $40,000 deposit down, and we just spent money on the architect. We're ready to go. Everything's ready to go. I'm fully invested with money that came from the studio and money that came from my career, which I didn't make a lot of money. Like, it's not as glamorous as people think. The Conor McGregors, those are the guys that make a lot of money, but they're far and few between. I assure you, the starting salary in the UFC right now, if you make the UFC, 12,000 a show, 12,000 a win. If you lose, you get $12,000 for, let's say you do an 8-week camp. You got to pay your trainers, you got to pay your manager, you got to pay Uncle Sam. So that it's not as glamorous as people think it is. So the money that I had was money that was hard earned. This is like blood, sweat, and tears, a course of 7 years of fighting at the highest level. So we're ready to go. Everything's looking good. We go to break ground, and there is asbestos throughout the whole building, which they didn't tell us. Oh, shit. Let me get this really fast.
Yeah, sorry. Okay.
Thank you very much. Castillo. Appreciate it. A box from Onnit.
Some good stuff in there, no doubt.
Yeah. So we come to this position where I'm 60,000 in the hole. And the landlord isn't going to do anything to accommodate this. So basically it's me come with $40,000 more to remove the asbestos from their building, the building that I don't owe, or me just to lose out on everything. So, I got a lawyer, and we started to fight it, and we kept fighting. And, I was just slowly starting to run out of money, And a long story short, when the battle went back and forth for about a year and a half, and then I ended up losing all the money. So not only the $60,000, but $40,000 in legal fees, and nothing to show for it. So this is something that was pretty devastating for me because, like I said, I didn't make millions of dollars in the UFC, and the studio wasn't bringing in millions of dollars. It's something that I wanted. It was a passion of mine, because we did so well, and the community that we built in the studio is so awesome. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to get a bigger studio and help more people, on a bigger scale. And it just didn't work out. And at that point in time, I was kind of on the fence and like, what do I do now? Do I shut the doors, or I was just kind of put in a position where I was unsure of what was going to happen in the next couple of months. And what I decided was, I wasn't going to give up. I wasn't going to give up. I was going to go, into my savings more. And, we decided to open up in a different area. And that was a smaller studio. So that one's really small. It's 1,800 square feet. But we spent some money into opening that up. And, we have that one running, and that one's been running for about 4 years now. So those are some of the things that was pretty devastating to me. And at that point in time, it was a really stressful time in my life, and I wasn't sure if I was going to make it, what I was going to do, what 6 months from that time was going to look like. But that I'm not the type to give up. Um, so basically, thankfully, I was able to get out of the hole there. And we're still in both locations. That dream studio is still something that I have on my mind. um, you know and then we run into COVID. So I've been dealing with that, and that's another thing that I can go on about. There's a lot of studios in the area that are closed, and a lot of people complaining about it. But once COVID hit, we went virtually. So we went a full class schedule virtually. So we had our instructors either teaching from their home, or we opened the studio for them to come up. But while a lot of these studios are closing and shutting down, we were able to adapt. So we ran basically a full schedule, Monday through Sunday, via Zoom classes, and the community that we built just kind of stuck behind us, and we were thankfully able to, stay in business. Where, I mean, revenue's down quite a bit, but we're still here. And then California just opened up. We're not open. I can run classes with 10 people, but even then, when that happened, we spent good chunk of money on building outdoor studios. So in our back parking lot. So instead of running indoor studios, we're able to run some classes virtually, and then some classes outdoors in the back of our studio. So I'm not the type that's just going to give up. And even though COVID and the restrictions for us to holding us back, we still have been here. We're still running, and I don't see it. I don't plan on shutting down anytime soon. In fact, like I said, that big studio is still in the back of my mind. And honestly, I believe we're close to 2 years away from opening my super studios, is what I called it. Right now we're probably about 90% female, and the super studio, I just kind of want to go half and half. So we're a
Mhm.
fitness boutique that focuses on more on female clientele, but the super studio I'm going to kind of open up for the men. So I want to give it both places where husband and wife can go and train at the same time, whether you're doing Pilates or TRX or hot yoga upstairs. And then we have some turf, and we're getting after it with the guys. So I still have a bunch of plans, and it's something that I work hard for every single day, including today.
I believe it, and I see this happening. And one day, when all this COVID sorts itself out, I hope to be training at that big facility one day, Danny.
Yes, yes, I hope so too. You're more than welcome.
And through your fighting career, through your history, you learned so many skills that helped you as an entrepreneur. And one thing you referred to a lot has been community. Talk to me about the importance of community in your life.
Well, the community is everything for me. I've competed in an individual sport, but at the same time, to be a good wrestler, you have to have good partners, and that comes from a team setting, which it's an individual sport, but it's also a team sport. So for me, I've always, for some reason or another, I've always been one of those team leaders. So ever since I can remember, it didn't matter if I was playing t-ball or soccer, I've always been one of the leaders on the team, and it's something that I enjoy, that I love doing. And now I have my studio where I'm trying to be a leader for our members, and that they look up and they follow, and and they know because I'm constantly trying to tweak my classes. I'm trying to make them better. I'm constantly doing certs. Well, not now, but certifications. I've probably done 10 Onnit certifications, and I'm always learning. I'm a student of the game, and I think in order to be a good leader, you have to lead by example. So, you know, being a hard worker is by nature. People tend to gravitate towards that because they understand that, well, man, this guy's working super hard. I could work a little bit harder, or I kind of want what he has, and I want to work harder. So, you know, that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Beautiful. Let's talk about your son. Your son's 17-month-old, and he's taught you a lot already, I'm sure. So what has Titus taught you about love, and what does love mean to you?
So you hear parents talk about their love for their child, and you know, once your baby's born, you know, it changes everything. And you know, I'm not kind of a guy that's like that, but it was absolutely right. Once my son was born, it's just kind of life changing. Like now, you know, like I said, I want to be better for him. I want to be a better provider for him. I want to. It's changed so much in me. I wasn't always a patient guy, and now I understand that his innocence has you know, instilled a lot of patience in me. Like, you know, it's crazy. You know, he can't talk, you know, so it's just like, you know, when he's crying and frustrated, it's just like, what's the problem, you know? And before I wouldn't have the patience to understand or to sit and try to figure out what the problem is. And now with the child, it's changed me so much. And you know, I'm so grateful that you know, he's in my life, and he was put in my life for a reason. You know, I feel like everything happens for a reason, good or bad, and I feel like he was put in my life to make me a better person, to make me more patient, to make me more loving and caring, and that's what he has done. You know, more than I can even describe.
It's a beautiful life lesson, and that's still in the process. So as we move towards a close, I have 3 questions I asked all the guests, and this first one's a big one. You've had such a vast experience on your journey, Danny, and so many lessons learned on the path. But of these lessons, what has been the greatest? What has been the greatest lesson you've learned on your journey that you'd like to share with the audience?
For me, I believe it's you know, it is that journey. You know, the journey is everything. It's you know, you're gonna have good days and bad days, but you know, as long as you're here, I mean, if you have a bad day, if you have, you know, 20 consecutive bad days, you know, the 21st day will be a good day. And it's just to stay true to yourself, and every day to give everything you can possibly give, to be a good person, and you know, eventually those bad days will turn into good.
hmm All right. I love that answer. And I'm sure I'm going to love these next 2 answers as well. You've been coming at me and the audience with such fire and wisdom. So thank you for all this. Um, in 3 words, Danny, or a phrase, how will you describe the experience you are having on this earth?
I would say beautiful, challenging, and fruitful.
Beautiful, challenging, and fruitful. I like that. Okay. And here we go. The last question. It's a 2-parter.
Okay.
So I want you, well, we're all magicians, and I'm going to use a bit of my magic, and I'm going to transport us into the future. I'm going to transport us in the future when you are 85 years old. And I want you to picture and envision this 85-year-old Danny Castillo in your head right now. What does life look like for that 85-year-old Danny? What is the legacy that you've left behind?
Well, that's for me when I'm 85. You know, I hope to be the same person, the same lively person, the same guy that's working out, exactly the same. Just probably a lot more wrinkles and gray hair, but you know, I hope that I have built a life and memories and friendships that I still have. I still have the majority of my friends I've known for over 20 years. So I'm hoping that I can continue on that path. I can continue to motivate people. I can continue to make people laugh. I can continue to have fun with people. All that is goes back to what I've been doing this whole time. And it's working hard and trying to be happy and trying to have a good time and, being passionate about the things that I love. And that's it for me. That's it for me. As long as I can keep that passion when I'm 85 and keep that smile on my face and say that I don't regret anything that's ever happened to me, because it's all a stepping stone to put me at 85. I'm 85 years old, and I look back at all this stuff, and it's just like, man, that was a rough patch in time, but I stuck to the course. I was happy. I kept my faith, and here I am, 85 years old. Just having fun, still working out, hopefully, and being a grandfather and teaching my grandchildren exactly the same lessons that I taught Titus, the same lessons that all my friends know about me without me even teaching them. I feel like leading by example. I don't have to teach anyone; they can just kind of see the person that I am. And over 85 years, that's a really crazy question. Now that I'm putting myself there, it's I just want people to respect me for the things I did, and that's I worked as hard as I could, and with a smile on my face.
Mm-hmm. I can see this all happening, without question. So I want you to stay in these feelings of that 85-year-old, because I'm going to bring us back into the now, 2020, and that 85-year-old Danny Castillo leaves you a message. What does he tell you?
Everything's going to work out the way it's supposed to work out.
Beautiful.
Be happy and live with passion.
Beautiful, brother. Well, I really appreciate you joining me on Welcome to the Winner's Circle. I've learned a lot, and I'm leaving this conversation with a lot of inspiration, as I'm sure anyone listening would as well. They can find you on Instagram at lastcall155. They can find you in Sacramento. You have 2 locations, P2O Hot Pilates and Fitness. As you mentioned, you guys are in person and online. Where else shall I send them?
I mean, all the social medias. I mean, Facebook, it's the same thing. I have a fan page, a regular page. I'm on Twitter. Then my studio is also on all those as well. Yeah, man. And if you're ever in Northern California, close to Sacramento, I would love for you guys to come in and drop in. Just say you heard me on this podcast, and I'll take care of you, whether it's in the fitness studio or it's at the fight gym. If you want to try, if you just want to come and watch some of the practices, you see some of the best guys on the planet getting after it, and you could see me in my element, how serious but how fun I try to keep it. And we can enjoy each other's company, and yeah, you're more than welcome. Especially.
Hell yeah. Thank you. Hell yeah. So to close, we bring our fist up and we do a little digital fist bump. Welcome to the Winner's Circle, brother. And thank you so much. And that is a wrap on this episode.
Perfect.